I have a very low voice, but I'll try my best. My name is Alvaro Arroliga. I'm a photographer. I'm originally from Nicaragua. I guess my photography right now generally goes around like showcasing fashion that comes from marginalized people and also empower LGBTQIA plus voices and POC. But to talk a little about my interest in photography, like I said, I came from Nicaragua when I was about 17 years old, and yeah, looking for better opportunities, escaping poverty. But when I had the opportunity to go to school, at the time I was kind of afraid to go to do an art degree because I thought I had the idea of getting into art school or just being an artist is just I always grew up with this sentiment from my culture that you're not gonna make it as an artist, so you're not gonna be I don't know, you're gonna be in the street, so you're gonna starve yourself. So I kind of was afraid to just this, so I decided to go for the safe way and do something else. But I always had the interest in art, so I had the opportunity to take a photography class before the summer of 2017, in which I was very inspired by the photography class. It was an elective class, and then I decided to buy a camera with the FAFSA money I received that year, and also a ticket to visit Nicaragua with the same money from my FAFSA. And I saw photography as a way to capture every moment that I cross through, and but I guess my decision to kind of showcase more of my queer community was when I went to Nicaragua, and I had the opportunity to, since I took my camera, I have some I wanted to connect with queer people over there because I didn't get to connect when I left, so I wanted to get involved. And then they invited me to a kind of the first time that we're doing their Pride activities in Nicaragua officially, which was in the summer of 2017, June, which they call it Operación Queer, which the misspell word queer as C-U-I-R. And then I was very inspired by, I got to photograph a lot of artists, drag queens, performing artists, and I noticed there was a strong desire to show awareness or make people aware of the community over there. Even though the society in general, the culture there in Nicaragua is just very over. It's kind of pressed there still, and then there were a bunch of under-resourced artists that were just trying to do what they can with what they have, and that's kind of I was very inspired by that passion. And when I came back here to the States, I decided to kind of focus on that idea of showcasing marginalized community, especially the LGBTQI community or the queer community. And but yeah, so that's kind of how I got into more of the probably photographing people, and also but right now I guess my work kind of reflects on myself and my self-perception of beauty, and also kind of the idea. I always been interested since I was a kid into fashion. I remember, I don't know, watching the Grammys, the MTV Video Awards, and looking at all this luxury stuff. And then, but there was fashion and even art for me. There were topics that were foreign to me because even though I liked them, I see them through the TV. I just didn't really relate to them, and I thought maybe I'm not worth of it, or maybe my community that I'm around is not worthy of it, or what I know, the people I know around me, because I don't see them projected there. So with that in mind, I decided to kind of like focus myself on idea of like dismantling this belief of what fashion could be, or what beauty could be too, and then challenge my perception of like, okay, so I've been told basically through media that like we tend to like orbit towards Eurocentric standards of what fashion is. So, which in my mind is kind of like a concept that goes back into colonization. And then with this current work that I'm doing, I wanted to kind of like challenge those ideas by, in my way, to decolonize what I think fashion could be. And used elements and people that are like familiar to me, that I can see, like everyday people that I could see like in my way to work, like in my family, in my classroom, within the social cultural context that I'm like, that I grew up with too. But yeah, so this is some of my work that I've done. And also this one's I collaborate with also, so since I capture fashion, so I'm very dependent on collaborating with other people too, like fashion designers and also or stylists. But also working with the idea of working with what I have to, and kind of using that as also like as a challenge myself. Okay, I have to make this in a way that it could be seen as couture or editorial. So so this is some of my work that I've done. And also I'm very interested in the Latinx subcultures that exist within the US, and especially those that are more related to immigrants too, like and their contributions to what the style is. For example, here I can kind of play with the norteño look, and also kind of incorporating also like what the labors do, like working people, or like how working people look, or what they use for work too, among other elements too. So yes, so like I said before too, I'm also very interested in taking pictures of other artists, especially performance artists. I feel like they are very they're very passionate on what they do, and then they get me inspired to document them and their in their surrounding, and then when in their best, and what they feel their best. And so that's also like some of my work, which I think about, like also like using kind of like Hispanic produce as an accessory, or like the chiles over there, and like also like how I remember my friend, he works at a dentist, and he had this like kind of like circular things that they use, and yeah. But yeah, so that's some of the work I've done, but and yeah. And that's it. My name is Alvaro. If you want to connect with me, just sorry, I didn't put any like reference to my socials on my page, but I can provide that if you want. Yeah. Any questions?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
How do you plan to spend your time at the Cedars?
Oh, I forgot it all. Mostly by connecting with other artists. Like I mentioned before, photography for me is just like I do photography, and then but like if I'm going to focus on fashion, I want to like also showcase other people's work too, like collaborating with like I say stylist, fashion designers, or people that they're just interested in like doing that, and also using the space for sure, and the resources. And also the opportunity to train. I feel like like I said before, I'm not very formally trained when it comes to art. So I want to kind of like be able to like work on my verbiage and my writing when it comes to art.
world, kind of outlined in the red, and I started.
If you do, please use Harrison. You do these things so you feel a connection to the person. Like I said, I came from Nicaragua when I was a little.
And I'm going to read like what I wrote here, as a lot of my colleagues are. All right, well,
So my goal for Cedars Union, not respond, but you can follow me if you want.
so here's a little bit about what I've published in the past. We were talking about this the other time. Yeah, I would love to.
It looks much smoother on my screen.